Welcome to Mind Your Autistic Brain with Social Autie. That's me, Carol Jean, and today is a very special edition of the Chatty Auties with my darling friend, Rebekah J. Samuel of Scripture Prescriptions. Hi, Rebekah.
Hi.
We are celebrating something pretty big in our life. This is our 1-year anniversary.
Yay. Such a big deal.
It has been a really big deal for both of us. So Rebekah and I are going to share our origin story. How did we meet? What has happened in the last year and how it's changed our lives? It's pretty amazing, and I can't wait to share it with you.
Yes, it is a great story.
So Rebekah, how did we meet?
So it was last year, around this time, right before Thanksgiving. You and I were in this course building class. We had no idea that we would ever be doing what we're doing now together. But back then, I was on a completely different trajectory and a completely different subject. And I just wanted to go to learn how to build a course that I could sell online. And I think that's what you were doing as well.
Yes, and we both started in completely different topics.
Yes, exactly. And it was so interesting because when I saw her post, when I saw Carol post, I saw just a story that I could resonate with, is what I saw. And I saw like how she looked so joyful and happy. And it just was so, I don't know, different. It stood out. Her post stood out. Well, your post. Am I supposed to be talking to the audience or is talking to you? This is a little weird.
No, it is kind of odd.
Yes.
But we're odd, so it's okay.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, I was looking at your post and I was like, okay, this person is different, and this is a person that has been through things and been on the other side, and that's the kind of person I want to connect with while I'm going through this course building journey, And it was really cool because I just had this thought, I need to message her and get to know her, because she looks like she's on my team, even though it's a completely different subject and it doesn't have anything to do with me. I was very wrong about that. But
Boy, were we.
oh my gosh, do you remember what it was that you were interested in?
Well, I was taking my vision science background and was developing a course for preschool parents, helping to identify their children's learning style to help better aid teaching them how to read.
Wow. Yes.
Because that was sort of where I was in the world at that time. And trying to say, okay, well, how can I make a course for this so that I can share this information? Because I had been doing all this research and development for it, for a specific tool I had developed. Hello. Through some things I had been doing, and I posted in this group. Sort of everybody was doing their introduction in this 5-day challenge that we were doing in this group, and I got this message from this woman named Rebekah. I remember thinking, you reached out, you sent me this really nice little message and said, hey, I would love to meet some friends, form a group of women that we can kind of go through this course together. And that was sort of where it started. And we started sharing back and forth because there were these daily challenges.
Yeah.
Remember these?
Yes, I remember the daily challenges.
Yeah. Daily challenges. And you would watch the video and you'd get the assignment, and then you had a couple hours to work it through. And then there was this live question and answer video. Mm-hmm. So Rebekah and I started sharing back and forth what our work was and sort of how we were working it out. And we were asking each other questions and sort of working through it. And in that, we had this connection where we just realized, oh my gosh, this person communicates and understands me in a way that nobody else seems to. But we had no idea that we were both autistic.
Right. Exactly.
That we were actually speaking the same language.
Same language, yes. It made it so simple to have that conversation and speak with you, because I didn't get that connection with other women in the group. I had called or I messaged a few other ones, and I was not getting that feedback and that communication style that I was getting with you. And so I was like, okay, I'm holding on to her for dear life because she's a rare gem in my life, And it was great though. Like it really helped us get through that course and really learn a lot. We both learned a lot. And then I think we just started like continuing talking. It was like beyond the course. It wasn't about it anymore. It was just friendship started to form between us. And it was like, okay, you need to know what happened in my life today. Like you're the person that I'm going to go to and tell all the things to. And it was great.
We started having those late night pajama talks.
Yes. And it was so cool and refreshing too for me because I could be myself completely. And I didn't feel like I was, embarrassed or anything. Like I think you saw me several times in video in my pajamas and hair all messed up and makeup half done on my face. I was just like, I don't care.
Look, this is all about just having real conversations. So just so everybody out there knows how real it really is. And she knows exactly what I'm about to say. She's about to like, I can't believe you're going to say this, Carol James. A lot of times we don't do video talk because it's after 8 and I don't wear clothes to bed. What are you doing? And I'm like, well, we can't video talk. She goes, are you naked again? This is just us. Well, me in the hot hand basket that I am, but she's gotten used to that.
It is. It's a thing. It's a total thing. I'm like, is Carol going to be dressed today or is she not going to be dressed?
Just so everyone knows, I don't do video without my clothes on.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
That would be a whole nother income stream that I'm just not even pursuing.
Oh my word.
But I have to say that I have probably laughed more, shared more, and had deeper connection with you than I ever have with any other friend ever in my entire life. And it has just been the most incredible and magical. And it has been such a blessing. It has been such a blessing to have met you and to have formed this relationship. And that was one of the things that Rebekah and I really want to share with you guys. And the whole reason that we're doing this 1-year anniversary conversation is because we reflected on this about a month ago. Because I looked at the calendar and I'm like, what's coming up? And she's like, well, what? I was like, our 1-year anniversary. She's like, what? Yeah. Really? And we were both like, it seems like we've known each other forever.
Yeah.
But when we look at it, we're just coming up on 1 year. But in the last year, I don't know, maybe you feel the same way. You might have a different experience on this. I feel like we've known each other for a lifetime.
Yes, I agree. It doesn't feel like a year because it feels like it's a lot longer than that, even though we know by the timeline that it wasn't.
Right. And, you guys have heard our interview previously before where we talked for Mind Your Autistic Brain podcast, and Rebekah revealed that, she found out she was autistic because I said, you might want to look into this because I think you might be like me.
Yes. That was the biggest thing that came out of our relationship early on, where I didn't know myself then. I really didn't. I didn't know about my Asperger's and, my autism. And you were able to give me the right guidance and guide me in that direction because you recognized things that I didn't see. And as soon as you said it, though, everything started to make sense to me. And I was just like, okay, this is something. There's something to this.
You're like, holy cow, this is amazing. But that was just really scratching the surface, because one of the things that was really important to me, and the reason that Rebekah and I wanted to have this conversation today to share with everybody, is because we met online. We have had birthday parties together.
Yes.
We have had cry sessions together. We have had I cannot believe I have had this horrible day. I cannot believe this is the most fantastic day of my life. We have had all of these wonderful life experiences. Rebekah and I have never met one another in person.
Wow.
Our entire relationship revolves around telephone conversations, video conferencing, which we wear it out.
Yeah, we do.
We wear out Messenger Zoom, baby.
Yes, we do.
And part of that is that as autistics, we don't always have the opportunity, nor do we have the desire to be in physical social situations. And this is probably one of the most beautiful examples of an incredibly deep and connecting relationship where we've never had a physical interaction. And I think that's pretty important to let people know that we have this incredible friendship, and we've both laughed about it. Said if when we ever finally get to meet each other in person, our husbands will be like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, like our husband's going to be like, "Okay, leave the room so that they can have their moments to jump up and down and do all the things they're going to do," because that's probably what would happen.
Yep, the crying, the squealing, the
Crying, the yelling,
excitement.
Yep, all the emotions of the year in one moment. Yep.
Exactly. But I think, and this is some of this stuff, and I really want to hear Rebekah's take on this because I love it. She always has such beautiful insights into things, and I like it because we're similar enough, but we are dissimilar enough that we complement one another. And it's always wonderful because I love to hear Rebekah's side of things because she sees things differently. She sees things sometimes that I don't see, and I see things that she doesn't see. And we have found this really great mutual connection and appreciation that the other person sees things and thinks about things differently. And I think that's been such an amazing part of our relationship because we have had a pretty big year. So, how have you experienced this, Rebekah? So what are some of the big highlight points for you in this year with me?
Well, let's see. We always seem to be going through something at the same time, but then we end up helping solve that problem ahead of time. So like one week I'll be going through something and I'll have a really hard challenge that I'm facing. And here's Carol over there thinking the exact same thing. You're thinking all the same stuff I am, and we have not had a conversation about it. And then you go forward with a decision or a choice, and then I see you online doing your thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and that's the solution right there. And this has happened back and forth through our entire year. Like, then it's reversed, and then it's me. And I'm like, oh yeah, I've solved this problem here, and I'm going to move forward with this. And then you're like, oh, I'm going to copy that because that's working over there.
So, that has been the best thing.
Yes.
We've had a partner. We've had the buddy system.
Yes.
In a way I've never had before.
Yeah, me neither.
I've never had that before in my life. And I think that's like been one of the most exciting parts of this is that we've been able to help each other through everything this year.
Yeah. Emotions, through problems, through challenges, through marriage, even our spouse relationships, our relationships, that has been huge too. Like I've been able to come to you and be like, oh my gosh, like I need some advice here because I am about to blow my top. And you're like calming me down and getting me more focused on what I need to be focused on. And then I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Okay. Yep.
But it works in reverse. I call you and I'm just like devastated, in tears. I don't know how to handle this. It was kind of like, okay, back in the spring, remember where we had the whole haters thing?
Okay, yes, let's talk about that. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Because you had some experiences first. And I hadn't had any, so I didn't really have the resources to pull from it. And I was doing the best that I knew to do to try and help and support you and love you through that because I knew it had really hurt you. And then it was a couple weeks later, I had the almost same kind of thing. And you were like, it's okay. I've been through this. It's going to be all right. This is what we got to do. And then we came together and we made that video. It was our first Chatty Auties.
Yes. Yep. Because why would we keep the things that we are learning to ourselves? And I feel like that has been our motto throughout the whole year for us, has been really why keep the things that you and I have worked out, figured out, worked on? Why not give them to the world, share them with the rest of the autistics. I think it's been beautiful, and how we've produced so many things and built community through that, for sure.
And I think, that was one of the biggest things that was sort of that aha, oh my gosh, Rebekah, did you realize that this happened when we had this first conversation about a month ago? This was one of our late night chat sessions. Her honey was out of town, and it's like, we've been on video chat for like 3 or 4 hours. We had solved all the world's problems. We had talked about every aspect of humanity.
50 topics in an hour.
That's just our high-speed brain.
It is.
And she and I keep up, which is really fun. I love that.
Yes.
But we kind of got to the end of this, and I said, oh my gosh, have you realized this? And she was like, realize what exactly? And I'm like, the network. If you and I had never met, if Rebekah and I had never met, then we wouldn't be Scripture Prescriptions Ministry and Healing Place and all the things that Rebekah has created that are out there serving and helping. I would not have started messy and all over the place, me and my scattered brain and all my stuff. But I wouldn't have ended up with Mind Your Autistic Brain in the way that it is today. And through all of this, we have met new friends individually. We've introduced our new friends to each other's friends. Our friends have made friends and connections with other friends. And all of a sudden, we stepped back about a month ago and we said, oh my gosh, if we hadn't met, then they wouldn't have met. And the next group wouldn't have met. And we wouldn't have this community of autistic people coming together in a way that's not happening out there anyplace else that we know of. I mean, it could be, we just don't know it.
I honestly, I have to say that I did a lot of research on this stuff. As soon as you told me, I started doing my own research, not having met Christian with Asperger's, because I think you had invited me to that group when you started looking around for connection as well. So we were both looking for connection and family and relationships. And so you brought to Christian with Asperger's, and then within a week I was an admin on that in that group.
I know. I was like, oh my gosh, just jump in, feet first, girl, go.
I was just like, I see problems and we need to fix these problems to really build this community up, really get everybody talking. So you guys that are listening and are in Christians with Asperger's, it was a bit dead when I got there. It was dead. It hadn't really been posted in much. There were people every now and then posting. And I was like, we need to get more conversation going. We need to see what those blocks are, why there's not active community here. So I started just making some posts, introducing myself and stuff, and got things going. And now that thing is hopping, man. y'all are talking and communicating. And it's fantastic.
It is incredible. It really is. And, that's one of the beautiful things is that we've been able to come together, Rebekah and I, and shared our skill set with one another. And one of the skill sets that Rebekah has shared with me is I'm a systems and structure person, but not like Rebekah. Rebekah has this amazing capacity and skill to take big, complex ideas and put them into these incredible structures and systems. And so everything that I have learned about building online communities and putting things together came from guidance I got from Rebekah. And I don't think I would have tried half the technical things that I do now had I not had a buddy to do it with, because otherwise it's kind of scary.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. That's one of the things when you're starting a podcast or a YouTube channel. Like I started a YouTube channel for the first time this year. I was not on YouTube prior. And I was like, I'll try this thing. I'll see how it works. But we were going back and forth too on like, what mic should we buy and what technology? Because it's a lot of pieces to do this. And, I remember all the software back and forth links that
all the different things we checked out. I think I ordered and tried 2 or 3 different mics. You had tried a couple different ones. I mean, and it was really great because she'll do one or two things and try them. I'll do another two or three things. And then between the two of us, we factored out and tried and tested
Yes.
4 or 5 things. I mean, it's really been great. I think it's been wonderful because not only have we been able to do this together, we do things, you know, we have our own individual aspects and approaches to things. But when it comes to sort of the fundamental components of it, we help each other. And I'll send you something and say, hey, I found this and this is really great and it works well. I like it. Maybe you'll like it too. Or you'll send me something and go, oh, I found the coolest thing, like the Kitco thing. You're like, it's really easy to use. You're going to like this. And so we jumped in. Believe me, we have tried so many things this year. I have probably tried more things in the last year than I ever have in 46 years.
I got to show something. Is this going to be on video too?
Yeah. We're going to have video for this too. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I got to show something. I'll say what it said on the podcast for the podcasting. I'll say what it is. But this is something that is this backwards to you?
No, that's correct.
Okay. So this is something that has been keeping me fueled and going. And I shared with Carol. I don't know if you remember when I first said this to you, but I said the reason why I'm pushing, it was back in January. I said the reason I'm pushing as hard as I'm pushing is because this is my hashtag that I'm following, doing it afraid or do it afraid. And that has been like my motto throughout the whole year, my hashtag on all my posts and stuff when I'm doing something new. But this says for everybody on the podcast, believe and push as you are crushing goals, doing it afraid 2020. And that is something that I feel like that's been a huge inspiration to all the hard things because we've together combined, oh my gosh, we've probably done more than most entrepreneurs or people trying to experiment with things have done in like 3 years. Honestly, probably more than that.
Probably have.
I mean, with 50 something ideas floating around, like what the heck? We're crazy. That's what it is.
Yeah, I know, right? And we have so many ideas all at the same time. We have to come together and talk just to get them out of our heads. But we started and launched a YouTube channel individually. We each did one. I started a podcast. You started groups and coaching and teaching. I started coaching and teaching. We're both venturing out into creating video teaching modules to help for the next level of things. I started out in January writing a book. I had met with a publisher and all kinds of things, and that ended up getting put on the back burner. However, it flipped around, and somebody who wasn't interested in that in the beginning of the year is now writing a chapter in a book and has a book coming out. Don't you, Miss Rebekah?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned. I totally forgotten to mention that. We help each other too with our brains, because I do have to mention really quick. Sometimes when I can't think of my own things, you always fill in the gaps. You're always like, hey, remember that you're supposed to be doing today? Yeah.
Or
that you're supposed to get ready for? Oh, thanks. Yes. That's right.
And I think the biggest challenge that you and I have both worked through, and it's been so much easier doing it together and being able to have a partner to talk it out with and work it through, because we do have so many different ideas. We've really been able to help each other get clarity.
Yes, which is what ended up leading me to like, what should I be doing? Because I'm definitely working on that. And I've seen you get clarity on in your group, your social group, which is amazing, because I've been really watching like that model that you're using and I see it working. And I'm like, okay, this is the part I didn't know a lot about, but you were really getting that down. So I love that we can learn from each other and how well we're doing. But I want to get back to the book, because I will forget again. So the book is called Letters of Love, and it is going to be a collection from 10 or 12, I think it's 12 now, 12 author collaborators who are all going to be writing a letter to somebody that they want to write a letter to as like a legacy. So I'm going to be writing 2 letters in that book. One of them is going to be to to every person in my life, past, present, and future, who contributes to my life in some amazing way. And also as an inspirational piece for those who will never know me in person, but will be like, wow, that's a person I want to emulate. That's somebody I want to be like. So I think it's gonna be really good. And then I'm writing one. Hopefully my husband doesn't hear this podcast. I'm writing one for my husband as well for Valentine's Day. So that's something he can have and cherish and stuff. So that's coming out in February. So if you guys do want to get notified for that, we have like a sign up form and stuff like that. We can maybe put in the show notes.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be great. Yeah. So there it is on the book.
And I'm really excited because I've always loved to write, but I sort of lost passion for it, or lost the drive, the motivation for it. And Rebekah is the one that inspired me to start really writing again, to really step into things in a different way. She has been a writer for a very long time, and she had a section in her life where she'd set it aside as well. And so being able to talk about those experiences, about why we wrote, why we stopped writing, and why we wanted to start writing again, has really been a great mutual journey that we've also shared this year. We've shared a lot this year, Rebekah.
Everything. I think our entire lives. Like, I don't think there's one thing we haven't.
We've shared a lot. We have. We really have. And I think one of the other things, I've taken, her Do It Afraid has really been not just hers, it's been mine too. She shared it with me and she said, this is what I'm doing this year. And I looked at it and I thought about it and I was like, yep, I'm with you. Let's do it together. We'll do it afraid together. And honestly, that's what we've done. We've been doing it afraid together all year long. We have tried so many things. I mean, we didn't just push the envelope of stretching ourselves. We stepped down into some seriously uncomfortable spaces, but we did it together, so it wasn't nearly as scary.
Right. Yeah. Having that partner in your life to be able to just to hold hands with as you jump into, the cavern of the unknown. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for real. Because I really feel like that's what it's been. And that's what's so remarkable about this is that, like you said earlier, we haven't met in person. So a lot of people will say, well, you only going to be really, really good friends with someone if you're close in proximity. That's not true. And that's something we have found, which is kind of surprising because of what, society tells us. It's not, I'm finding more of what society tells us is big ol' lies, and that it's not even true, most of it,
This is just one more thing that we've shattered a belief system about.
Yes.
We've done a lot of belief shattering this year together. About, not just about ourselves, because we've shattered a lot of limiting beliefs that we held and we've worked through together, which has been amazing.
Yes.
But we've also shattered a lot of our false and limiting beliefs of society and societal norms and sort of what we were expected to do and be. And that's been a really big thing, I guess, probably in the last couple of months. Would you agree with this, Rebekah? You and I've really been stepping back and reevaluating, how do we do this in our very autistic way and not trying to do it like everybody else? How do we do it in our way and not the way everybody else seems to do it? Because that doesn't work for us. We have found that out.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's so freeing. It's such a freeing thing to not be chained down to an expectation or a meaning of success, of what does success look like, and having to follow that. I would have to say that one of the things that I have expressed to you this year a lot is that a lot of what society says is success and, prosperity and all of that, right? And what that looks like is just not, it's not fitting me and who I am. It's not. And it's not fitting you either. And I love that because it was like, oh, I have a kindred spirit in this. Do you know the Anne of Green Gables?
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
I love her.
I have to bring this reference up because I feel like we are Anne and Diana. You have even the red hair going, and I've got the dark hair. And I feel like that's what we are. And ever since I saw Anne of Green Gables and I saw like how they had such a deep friendship that went to like a deeper place, that I always wanted that in my life. And I would always pray about it and just be like, Lord, bring me that friend that's just like that, you know? And I feel like that's what he's done. Like,
Oh,
I have to give it to God, you know, he knows exactly what to bring
absolutely.
together.
You were an answer to a prayer in my life. And I think that is just, you know, aside from our ooey gooey love fest, because if you're on the other end, you have just been like, oh my Lord, they are the cheesiest. I think I just got a cavity, you know. But honestly, this is how incredible this has been for us. And the whole reason that we're having this conversation and sharing it with you is because we have found that in connection and finding that other autistic person that
Mhm,
speaks our language at the same speed as our brain and understands our quirks and our struggles,
mhm,
because that's been another big part of this journey that Rebekah and I have been on together this year. There has been connection and understanding of another person in a way I've never had the opportunity to until I met Rebekah. And that is that we've been able to share our autistic challenges, and the
mhm,
other person really, truly, on a cellular level, gets it.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, it's been very nice to know that I'm not alone in each of these pieces that I'm going through. And, you know, a lot of you guys may know that I have PTSD as well. And that's something that I had to work through, you know, some aspects of that before I was ready for, I think, a friendship like this. Because it tends to draw you into yourself and it tends to make you not want to be vulnerable and not want to put yourself out there because you're afraid to get hurt. And I feel like I put myself out there with you and I was trusting you because I've been hurt by many, many people, you guys. A lot of people in my life have hurt me. And I wanted to just turn off my heart, shut it up, put it in a box, lock it up, and nobody's going to touch it. So, in reaching out, you know, to you, Carol, I had to really open that box of my heart and be, you know, trusting with you on it. And it was not the easiest thing. But when I saw that you were on the same team as me, we were on the same team, we had the same vision, that really helped bring that trust factor into play. And, you know, with our communities and you guys are not, you're not here just because of happenstance. You're not here listening to this podcast. You're not listening, you know, watching this YouTube video just because you came across it one day. There is actual intentional mechanisms that have been moving in the background in this year that has brought all of you guys together, and you're getting to make friends and meet people internationally, which I think is amazing.
Oh
We've
my
reached
gosh.
people around the
Yeah.
world.
I mean, how fun is it? I actually, on my Google Chrome app on my phone, at all times have open the time zone converter because I've
Yes.
made so many friends all over the world. Rebekah and I do the Chatty Auties fellowship show Thursday mornings, and we juggle two totally different continents, 12, 13 hours apart. And it has been so much fun, but things I never, ever could have imagined a year ago. Would you have imagined any of the things that we've done this year a year
No,
ago?
no, not at all. I didn't even know what was possible. Like, that's really what it is. It's like I didn't know that this was even going to
You just
exist.
nailed it. I didn't know it was possible.
Yeah. Yes. And how encouraging is that, right? When we're looking at our dreams and our visions of life, and we're like, I would really like to see this happen in my life. Now, it doesn't always happen exactly how we think it does, but if we're open to anything and everything that, you know, would be positive like that, I feel like that is when God can use us and use our stories in our life and use our gifts. And I think that's what really happened here.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that that's probably been at the heart of our friendship, is that we didn't know what was possible, but we were willing to do it together to see where it led. And it wasn't as scary because I had you.
Yes, I agree. And I feel like too that with us both experimenting on both of our ends, we, like you said earlier, we are eliminating the problems that might have come up because, oh, I've already tried that. That doesn't work. Right. So let's go this direction. And that really helped guide. And that's something too that I've been noticing in the community is there's a lot more interaction happening and a lot more teamwork, a lot more. Have you noticed that? Like people working together, y'all are working together and I'm so proud of you. I just have to say.
But you know what? I think it has a lot to do with the fact that you and I were willing to do it, to try it. And then we said, oh my gosh, we did this. You guys should try this. You should do this. And I have to say, I have met, hands down, in the past year, once it started with Rebekah, I have met some of the most fantastic people in the last year and have made some of the most incredible friends. And it just keeps growing. And what I love is that Rebekah has her community, I have my community, and everybody's mixing and meeting one another. And, you know, we've got Sarah and Casey and Colin and Toby, and, you know, we've got Jason, and everybody's coming together from all these different areas and having conversations and then going off and doing things together on their own, which is even better in my book, because then it's not based on us, it's based on them. It's based on you guys coming together. And to me, that has been the most beautiful part of the friendship connection that we started, just she and I. To me, it's like these concentric rings that just keep going out, and I love it. My whole thing is people think that autistics aren't social, that we don't want to be with other people or we don't want to have friendships, and it's the absolute opposite.
Yes.
But we're really happy when we're in community and friendship with one another.
Yeah.
And I love that we're able to come together and share and introduce one another. I mean, seriously, take one of your new friends, somebody you just met, you've got something in common with, you're talking, you're meeting each other, and say, hey, I've got a friend I want you to meet. Introduce your buddy to another buddy. It's incredible. I love it.
And do the same with the programs that we're putting together. Both of us have worked really hard this year in putting out, content for you guys to learn from, connect groups, connection opportunities with like the Discord app channels, which have been great, by the way. You guys have been fantastic in communicating with each other and really opening up with new Aspies, inviting new ones coming in that are, fresh, and they're, you guys sticking your neck out there to try to make friends. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I would say those of you who have been in these longer, we would encourage you to, bring a friend along. If you're meeting somebody new and you're like, oh, you like music too? Okay, you like songwriting? Hey, join the Creative Flow channel, because we're just sharing off, whatever little things that we have. And you guys are creating stuff too. You guys have been like creating amazing, like, artwork and music and songwriting. I mean, and your stories coming out. Oh, that's the things, Carol, that I've loved about this. And I know you have too. We've talked about it. We can talk about you guys for hours.
Oh gosh.
About you. That's what we're talking about.
I've just, the talent, the intellect, the resources, just all of the things that everyone does. I'm putting together the holiday shop in my group because there's so many talented people. You guys are making things, you're creating things, and oh my gosh. And then Rebekah's got other aspects where she's bringing together musicians and photographers. And it's a wonderful place to be. And we are so beyond honored to be a part of it. And we thank you guys so much for joining us here today to listen to our Ooey Gooey Love Fest.
Is that what this is going to be called? The Ooey Gooey Love Fest of Carol and Rebekah? It's so
But we
great.
just want you to know really what this is this isn't the ooey gooey love fest for us. This is really a thank you to each and every one of you listening and watching today. Because it may have just started with these two silly girls on this side of the camera, but oh my goodness, you are a part of this. You are the biggest and most important part of our lives in everything that we do. And that we are honored and so incredibly blessed to be a part of your life and your journey. And the way that you show up each and every day is an incredible honor and a gift to us. Thank you so much for being here with my ooey gooey love fest and my darling friend Rebekah.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for all your support as well, and lifting us up in prayer and lifting us up in just everything that you guys have done to help us be able to do what we're doing as well. We appreciate it.
Have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving, because this is airing the week of Thanksgiving, and we are thankful for you. And we are grateful for all that you do and that you show up even when we know it's not always the best day. Just know that you're never alone. You're on this journey together. We are all together, and we're doing it with kindness, gentleness, patience, and understanding. Take care. We'll see you next week.